Hey there, busy mama. I got you. No need to worry. I did the homework for you. As your wellness concierge, I'll connect you to greater health and guide you to be fully alive and well. I'm a former Navy nurse and lactation consultant turned homeschool mama, focusing my love of education and health and wellness toward helping others. I don't even pretend to have it all together, and I'm totally okay with that. I can keep it real. I'm here for encouragement, sharing my voice and my journey, and to have fun. And just maybe a little learning too. Here, you'll find education, empowerment, and authenticity on a weekly basis. I am your host, Stacey Myers, the Hot Mess Homeschooler. Welcome to the podcast. Good morning, everybody. This past week, I was having a conversation with some friends about parenting, and I was laughing because all the things that I said I would never do when I was pregnant or beforehand ended up coming to pass. So for example, you were never going to catch a baby in my bed. Okay. I was never going to nurse past a year. And I was never, ever going to homeschool. So you can see how all of that worked out for me. And very quickly, I realized and learned to stop saying never when it comes to my parenting journey. Sometimes we make plans and then God laughs and it comes to be a certain way. Now, a lot of my parenting choices, as I said, weren't really choices for me at the time because I said I wasn't going to do them, but I kind of fell into them, especially when they were babies. I fell into certain practices because of survival. I just needed to make it through. My firstborn, God love her, she was a tough baby. Like, she wasn't the one that would ever sleep on her own. She cried a lot. Like, it was hard. And I'm a labor and delivery nurse, so I knew how to take care of babies, and I remember feeling completely frightened and abandoned when my husband went back to work at 2 weeks. Like, you're leaving me alone with her? Meanwhile, I was teaching other people how to manage their own children and take care of them. So it's just funny how certain things, when it's you, it's a whole different reality. Anyhow, so I started doing certain things, and I quickly learned that the way I was parenting was considered attachment parenting. You've probably heard that term before. And the more I started reading about it, yes, then those ideas and the concept of this really resonated with me because obviously it's what felt very comfortable and natural, because all the quote unquote more traditional ways was not working for me. Like, I could not set her down and let her just cry for hours because that's the type of kid she was. It wasn't a 10 minutes and she cried herself to sleep. That was not it. And, it just didn't feel right. And so the reading I was doing, helped support me in this. And thankfully my husband was on board and whatever. Attachment parenting, if you're not familiar, is basically the concept of you want to develop a nurturing connection between you and your children. John Bowlby was the one who kind of came up with this attachment theory. And really the goal of that is to raise secure and empathetic kids. Now, a lot of times people hear that and they think it's either permissive parenting or helicopter parenting, and that's not true at all. It's done through certain, I would say, practices, right? And it's basically the tenets of attachment parenting is through love and respect, having sensitivity toward your children as a person and understanding their needs. You're not controlling them. You're not making them fit, one certain way. Yes, we need to guide and raise them, but it's not like the typical authoritative type parenting. I'm the boss because I said so. Even when they're young, it goes down that far back. It's through nurturing touch, constant loving care, positive discipline, and not just about punishment, and balance in personal and family life. So, when my kids were babies, what did that look like? Obviously co-sleeping. That was the only time my baby would be quiet and sleep. And I think she just felt more secure because she felt my presence. I mean, it's so funny to me. People get all up in arms about babies sleeping next to their parents when that's probably how we were designed because, in earlier times, a baby crying it out wasn't going to be great for predators and hunters and other things, right? But we also look at if you're married, how well do you sleep when your husband leaves? It's so funny to me as adults that we have this idea what is fine for us, but then we have to make our teeny tiny little helpless babies into we have to toughen them up somehow. It's just a very interesting thought. But most people like to sleep next to other people. Anyway, co-sleeping. It looked like for me also baby wearing. That was the one hack that got me through early parenting. She just wanted to be next to me. She wanted to be held, but I couldn't sit around all the time. I'm not that personality. And I was feeling, especially as a new mom, probably had some postpartum, I don't want to say depression. I was definitely bluesy and probably a titch of a little of anxiety. Nothing I was ever medicated for, but I think those hormones just rocked my world. But I needed to be on the go. I needed to be out. Being in my house was making me nuts. So enter baby wearing. Oh my goodness. It changed my life. And also my baby was colicky. So being able to wear her upright, skin to skin against my chest, she could feel my heartbeat, feel my breath. And I was able to have hands free to get things done. And she was on me and everybody was happy. So it was amazing. Breastfeeding, it's challenging and it can take a lot of work, but just like anything, you wouldn't just start running a marathon when you've never run a day before in your life. So getting educated on how to do it beforehand, doing it. And if it's not working, getting help. And like most things in life, the things that are most worth it are usually challenging. So breastfeeding, I ended up nursing for a long time and I'm not even apologetic about it. I know people think that's weird. I love and cherish those days. Were they always easy? No. Did I feel like a human pacifier sometimes? Yes. Did I get touched out? Yes. All those things happened, but I can tell you now on the other side, when my children are 9 and 14, I don't look back on those days with regret at all. So again, I think we get in these ideas of when they're little, that this is how it's going to be forever. And so you feel this pressure and need to change. And it's why? Because now I did push through and persevere. And I'm so thankful that I did. And I held my ideals, even when no one else in my family parented like me. People thought I was weird. They thought, you just need to do this with her. You need to do that with her. And it wasn't always an immediate fix, but through time, we just developed our own thing. And I really believe it's impacted our relationship today. Basically, it's also being responsive to their needs when they cry, because a cry is a baby's way of communication, not manipulation. They're letting you know they can't talk. They can't, that's their way of letting you know, hey, I need something. And being responsive to that, even if their need is to just be held and feel close to you. I mean, for goodness sake, they were close to you for 9 months being carried in your womb. And then all of a sudden we expect them to be all by themselves all the time. So those are some of the ways, as infants and children, that you can practice attachment parenting. As they're toddlers, I taught them sign language so they can communicate to me Even if they didn't have words for it, they could communicate what their needs were to eliminate tantrums. Again, it's just love and respect of the person trying to develop a relationship and connection, not super authoritative or punitive, but it didn't mean permissive. So the bottom line is that as they grow, it's like you get in your busy lifestyle, and that was like, super at the forefront of our life, raising children. As the kids grow, as you get busy, you're in all different activities, and I'm sad to say, but I've even noticed in myself, I've kind of fallen away from some of that attachment parenting type principles in lieu of the more traditional way, because it's easy. It's how we were raised for most of us. And, it's a thing that it just was a problem. And I really see the importance of it. So as much as those practices seem like they're geared for babies and young children, I'm really seeing how important and imperative it is, especially as they head into their teens. And, thankfully throughout all of it, I have kept up a line of communication. I talk to my kids. I'm very forthright. I'm very honest and open, like what my needs are. And I'm very willing and helpful to meet theirs, as long as it's appropriate, obviously. So, teens go through this like biological, cognitive, and social changes as they go through. And let's not even talk about all the hormones, right? Like their brain is literally being remodeled. And it's just a time of upheaval. I'm sure all of us can look back at our teen years and be like, we're all been there. Everybody's made it through the other side, but it doesn't usually people that I talk to don't look back on their teen years and go, oh yeah, those were the easiest days of my life, right? No, you're oddly emotional, or things just don't seem right. And it just feels like a crazy time. And so the other part of attachment theory is that human beings we're made for, we're created for community. We're made to attach. And if you don't have a relationship already built up with your child, they're going to attach to something or someone. And then what happens in the teen years is if that attachment bond wasn't like formed and nurtured, what they're going to do is attach to their peers. And then it's like the blind leading the blind, or like Lord of the Flies, right? Like they're leading each other instead of you being the natural head of the home. And with your relationship with your child, they're not going to come to you. They're going to choose their peers. And then we have all the issues that come through with, risky behaviors and, all the things that teens can choose to screw up, right? So if not you, they're going to attach. So I think it's super important for us to remember that teens still need us. And probably, I don't want to say more importantly than being babies, but it's a really critical time for us to step into this parenting role and own how we do it. And it's okay if you've been messing up, because now you know better and you can choose better. So, if, teens are attached to the parent, their identity development, their the concept, and their emotional regulation is so much higher because they have a safe and secure connection. And that, in a time of upheaval, you become their safe harbor, and they're less likely to engage in those risky behaviors. So, what does this look like? I still think, for them, they need to be talked to, but more importantly, they need to be listened to. as much as it pains me sometimes to hear the nonstop talking or talking about things that don't even remotely interest me, like, I'm so thankful that she talks to me. And I try to be interested and to relate, you know, not to be cool to them or whatever, but just to hear where she's coming from. What's her heart saying to me? They need to be still touched and loved on. Obviously, it's a lot on their terms, but you keep offering. My daughter regularly comes to me and says, I need a hug, or she'll just lay on my shoulder. And sometimes I offer and it's, ugh, and, I get the spaghetti arms and she barely wants to hug me back. But there's the other times when she feels like she needs it, she knows she can come to me. And that's the key. And again, they just need to be responded to and having their needs met. They can talk, but teach them the words to say. Help them, communicate their feelings to you. And then you can have a discussion instead of just yelling or being frustrated all the time. Like the other day, I was mad. They're not taking their stuff out of their car and out of my car when they get out. So there's trash everywhere. So I'm like, you need to go and clean up my car. And then we had a conversation about, like, if I came in your room and left trash all around, how would that make you feel? And they get it. And it's like, I want you to respect, this thing of mine. You expect this in return for me, and that's great. But we need to work together because a relationship is a two-way street. Again, with teenagers, it looks like it's going deeper than the snark, the eye rolls, because a lot of times that's just, I don't know. I swear my daughter insists she does not roll her eyes, but I think it's just become such a natural part of her that she doesn't even realize that she's doing it. It's understanding that their time alone, scrolling on their phone, isn't necessarily lazy. It's maybe a little bit of self-care for them. And I'm not talking about time spent on social media, but when they're actually connecting with people and texting and talking. And yes, you have to be involved with their technology and all of that. This is not that conversation, but I'm just saying, I know we've been really busy and, I know my daughter is a very social introvert, but she's introverted nonetheless. And so she needs her downtime. So I get that. And I'm the textbook extrovert. I still understand that she needs to be in that room and have her time and, and I still obviously make opportunity. It's not like she can just lock herself away, but, we all love that. I come home sometimes from being out and I'm extroverted, but when I come home, I'm like, I want to sit and just scroll. I don't want to do anything. I want something mindless. And they feel that way too. And we need to understand that because again, they're just little humans, right? And again, we need to talk and listen. We need to be open to what they're saying and trying to get to the heart of their message, not just hearing the words, because sometimes the words, like, they irritate me, but I have to really see, like, where is her heart? And sometimes they do want to be contrary and they're testing you and they're going to see, like, how do you react, and I don't always just go, and blindly agree with her, but we can have a conversation that doesn't erupt into yelling. And if it starts to get too heated, I say, listen, we're going to have to table this because I'm starting to get aggravated. And again, use your words, communicate. But some of these skills we don't even have, y'all. Like, it's crazy. We expect them to, but we don't do them ourselves. Anyhow, be present and available. And I think that's the main, it's funny. My kids, they love it. They love being homeschooled. They love, they don't always love the work, but they love the fact that I'm always home with them. And even if I'm doing my own thing and they're doing theirs, they love that they can come to me when they need me, that I'm available for them if they have, like I said, whether it's a need to sit and talk, sometimes that happens, whether it's a need like, oh, I have to go somewhere, or we need to do this, I'm available to take them to their activities and I show up and I'm present there and I'm engaged. And I think that's huge. Now, not everybody can have that, and I get that, but it's making use of the time you actually do have with your kids. And it's thinking, how do you show up for them? it's getting excited when they're excited, even if you're like, it's loving them and letting them be the kid they actually are, not the one you wish you had or not the one you wish they would be. They could grow and change, but we can't love that version of them. We have to love them right in the spot they are right now. And doing that all with consistency. That's so important. And again, it gives them security. It makes you their safe space. And then again, it really gives them freedom in a sense to, be who they are, and they know that they're loved, and they don't have to do crazy things to figure out or prove themselves to somebody else, And I just want to put a little disclaimer out there. I in no way, shape, or form am saying that I do this perfectly. Absolutely not. I screw up on a regular basis, daily, multiple times a day. But it's something like overarching that's a value that I hold. And so, yes, even when I mess up, I try to bring it back. I can see this going down this path. How can I change it to react differently? And not being proud enough to continue on the path because I thought it was right, but to really check myself and say, okay, help me move in the right direction, God, and be open to the workings of the Holy Spirit in this relationship. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But you guys, it's just on my heart. I see, my Facebook memories, and I see these old pictures of my little girl and even my son, and I look at it and I remember how everything felt so pressing and so important and so imminent right then. And now here we are so many years later, and I'm looking at her and, she's growing up to be such a beautiful woman. And my son is growing up too. I mean, boys, he's a ding dong and I love him, but I'm seeing him change now. His body's changing as he's entering into starting to be the preteen years. And I'm like, wow, this passing of time is it's crazy. And I always say I like where we are right now. I just want to pause. I think I've said that every stage of parenting. And, some stages you look back on and you're like, yeah, this was easier than others. But time marches on, and there's no time like the present for you to start really developing and nurturing and changing, if you have to, the relationship you have with your children. Because like I said, I'm already starting to see, even when she's 14, I'm looking ahead, she's going to be in college in no time. And then, her life is going to, not start, but just, expand from there. And anyway, it just makes me hold on to your kids, please hold on to them. And you don't want them holding on to others. You want them to hold on to you. So hold on to your kids, love them well, treat them with respect. And if you need help in your own relationships, I think all of these principles help you in any relationship that you have. So anyway, these are my thoughts for you today, and enjoy them, snuggle them while you can, enjoy all the times and the laughter, play the board games, even when you don't feel like it, and really make the most of the time you have together. So anyway, have a great day. Connect with me at hotmesshomeschooler.com and on all the socials, and we can continue this conversation. Take care. Hey, thanks for listening. Head on over to hotmesshomeschooler.com, where you'll find all the things. Connect with me on socials, check out the blog, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. I look forward to serving you. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, be alive and well.